Hi, I'm live. My audience count says nobody's here yet. Uh, if you feel like saying hello and you are, oh, now it's showing me one person is here, presumably aside from myself. Good afternoon, one person who is here. If you feel like saying hi, please do. If not, don't worry about it. Whatever makes you comfortable. I'm like Disco Stew from The Simpsons. Disco Stew wants you to be comfortable while he does his thing. Of course, that was grosser than a middle-aged lady in a tiara hosting a live stream. Paige! Hey, Sock, I feel like it's been a while. I feel like it has too. Last week we had one person who showed up. Abby Jean, hey! Last week I had one person who showed up and they either weren't comfortable with commenting or they weren't in a position to comment. And so when I started the 10 minutes of yuck, they went away. I'm guessing they just had stuff to do or whatever. And then nobody else showed up. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do a 40-minute live stream. And if nobody's shown up by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm calling it off or calling it short. So I actually did end up getting a lot of stuff done during those 40 minutes. The lost, she's able to join. Lisa, hello. Hello. Hi, you guys. It's the Lost Coffee Mug. And she's got some great stuff. And I'm happy that she's here. If those are not the appropriate pronouns, please let me know and I will try to correct. I grew up getting castigated for using singular they. Like later on, I found out that it was like Shakespeare used singular they. And yeah, anyway, it's hard to shake off that being married to those binary pronouns sometimes. But if you're fine with he and she, if you're fine with she and her, I'll use that. If not, let me know. Same goes for anybody. If you ever want to use different pronouns than one might assume that you use, I don't know. I'm just babbling now. This is why I should probably. Hey, Abby G. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, so she, her is great. That's so nice that you ask. Well, I want to be respectful of everyone. And like I said, if I misgender somebody, I want them to know it's because I'm either being malicious, which I wouldn't do that maliciously, even to people I don't like, or because I have a hard time remembering, but I am aware of the issue and I do try to address it. So yeah, I always tell people, well, you can use she, her, or if you really prefer, you can use they, them for me. I know some people would love it if we could all just leave binary gender behind, and that would kind of be great in some ways. So I'm not afraid to be a part of that vanguard, but I am generally speaking a she, her. Okay, that was, yeah, I should probably get a co-host more often. Nah. Well, yeah, actually, I am. Oh, speaking of co-hosts, for those of you participating in the Ever Afterathon, or even not, I was going to try to do some live streams in association with Ever Afterathon. So if anybody wants to join me as a co-host, let me know, or DM me on Discord or whatever. Abby Jean says, I just finished a book this morning that had a non-binary main character. Nice. I think reading books with non-binary characters, main characters especially, kind of has helped me to better understand non-binary people on an emotional level. It's like intellectually I get it, but books can be a great tool for empathy. And I can read all the scholarly articles I want, and I have, but it's kind of nice to see it in a fictional setting where it's just like, oh, okay, this is how these feelings apply in everyday life. And this is maybe some things I could do to help, or at least not hurt. Because sometimes trying to help is actually hurtful. Sometimes the best you can do is nothing. And yeah, that's why I should stop talking about this now. Okay, so I have been reading The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. It is a very slow burn, and it's like the whole can't look away from the traffic accident thing for me. I'm like, what the what? Oh yeah, as I was saying about like maybe having a co-host for some of the live streams associated with the Ever Afterathon. If anybody's interested, let me know. There are a lot of slots available and I'm pretty flexible on time. So yeah, I've already talked to one person about it and they were like, yes, let's do that thing. Let's figure it out. So if other people are interested, that would be cool. So, yeah, I think today is going to be a celebration of the Ever Afterathon because it is Ever Afterathon Eve, as it starts tomorrow. And yeah, but do we want to do 10 minutes of yuck first? Lost coffee mug. I don't know if you prefer me to use your actual name or, what, but coffee mug. This is the way we run these, or the way I run them, and everybody seems to be okay with that. Is the first sprint is like a 10-minute sprint. It's like really a sprint. It's 10 minutes, and that we is so that people can like maybe tackle something they've been dreading or doing some kind of onerous task that you don't want to do for too long. So it's like for 10 minutes, you just do this. I think, I don't remember if it was Ana or Nicole. I think it was Nicole who started calling it the 10 minutes of yuck, which works because, I frequently clean the bathroom for the 10 minutes or whatever. So it's the 10 minutes of yuck. So we usually start with that. And that's like anything you're dreading doing, whether it's the bathroom or you got to make some phone calls or you got to balance the checkbook or whatever. That's what we do. Okay, now my population count is down to 1. Did people get I don't know. If people left, that's fine. I just am curious if sometimes it seems like that count is incorrect. But, yeah, if you're here, I'm here, says Abby Jean. Okay. Like I said, there's only, like, 1 person. Of course, okay, Paige is still here. Yeah, okay. Now it's showing 2. I don't know, because I mean, I know people will have to answer the phone or, eh, do something else, so I'm just like Abby Jean says, I think that count is incorrect sometimes. Yeah, that's what I think as well. That's why I was asking for people to just like give me a shout out. So it's showing 2 people and yeah. So yeah, the 10 minutes of yuck. Now that now I'm back up to 4. I don't know. Maybe people are closing the window because they've got to do something else and then coming back. That's fine too. I'm just curious. I'm nosy. Okay, so it's time for the 10 minutes of yuck, unless somebody wants something, wants to talk about something else, and then we'll come back and have some fun. Does that sound good to people? Hang on. Oh, looks like we have Roxy. Roxy says she needs some motivation today. Nice. It's nice to see you, Roxy. Uh, I was just explaining that what we do is we do 10 minutes of yuck, which is like cleaning the bathroom, answering phone calls, balancing the checkbook if people still do that. So the 10 minutes of yuck is just to get over, like, just do the things you don't really want to do and you don't want to do for longer than 10 minutes. And then we come back and have some fun before we do another sprint. And so, yeah. So, but welcome, Roxy. I'm happy to see you here. That's just what we're going to do first is that 10 minutes of yuck. Then we're going to have some fun. Okay, but first I am going to da, 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 da. Doo, 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 doo. Okay, here is the link to the river. This is classic rock in my part of the world in Connecticut. This is classic rock radio station that I'm usually listening to during the sprints. So I put it there. So if you see me rocking out and you're like, what is that song? Or, ooh, that looks like fun. You can join or not. Okay. By my reading glasses. And it is okay. So it's 9 minutes past the hour. So let's go to 20 minutes past the hour. So it'd be like 10 and a half minutes of yuck. Abby Jean has less than 10 minutes left in When She's Weary by Ruby Dixon. Squeeze in one last novella before the readathon starts. Okay, we're sprinting until 20. See you in 10. Okay. We're coming back from our 10 minutes of yuck. I only spent 5 minutes doing the yuck, but it was very yucky indeed. So I think, it's done now and I don't have to think about it anymore. Oh, the trauma, the trauma. Okay. It was just the bathroom was a little bit more messed up than I thought it was going to be. Question here, comment. Hoping to finish my book today too. Reading For the Hope of a Crow by T.S. Joyce. She writes short shifter romances and I just eat them up. LOL. My hair is just like doing its own thing. I actually broke down and bought some hair gel. So maybe I can tame it a little bit. Okay. Well, like I said, I spent 5 minutes cleaning the bathroom and it felt like 15. I was so sure I was going to be late coming back. Okay, so today I thought I was going to talk a little bit about my May TBR. I did a little bit last night, but I thought I'd go into it in a little more depth. Ana's here. Yay. And she says, I am here. I'm going to be mostly lurking though, as it is lunchtime. Ooh, nice. Editing and eating spaghetti. Nice. We had macaroni and cheese. And Big Y has this sort of macaroni and cheese that is branded. I'm sure you can get it other places too, but I've only ever seen it at Big Y. Uh, it's branded with Guinness, the beer, and Cabot, the cheese. Not Cabot Cove, murder capital of the United States, but Cabot cheese. And it's got like a little bit of Guinness in it. And it's just like the same foil pouch you get with like Velveeta or whatever. It's got a little bit of Guinness in the cheese, and but they have original, which is just like mac and cheese with a little bit of Guinness in the sauce. And they also, I saw a new one, which was new to me, caramelized onion, which is what we had today. It was good. We had it with a side salad. Very nice indeed. And later there will be ice cream. For a while, my mouth has stopped hurting quite. It actually doesn't really hurt that much at all unless I like put a lot of pressure on it, which I don't really need to do. But for a while there, for like, what was it, like over a week, 10 days, 11 days, that I was having to have ice cream immediately after every meal, not getting the meal and the taste a chance to subside, but immediately eating just a small amount of ice cream because the cold helped numb that spot that was giving me so much trouble until it stopped hurting, because like, I'd eat, that would aggravate it. I'd eat the ice cream, the cold would help numb it until it was over the whole eating thing. Anyway, it's better now. I'm going back to the dentist tomorrow morning for a second follow-up, but I think it's doing fine. Abby Jean says, I was going to ask you how your mouth injury was doing. It's doing pretty good. I didn't wear my retainers for she says, glad it's better now. Thank you, Abby Jean. I am glad too. I was going to I only wore my retainers a couple of times during that time because it was just, and, but I put them in the last couple of nights and they weren't too tight considering I hadn't worn them for a couple of weeks almost. And it also feels like, I don't know if that's because I wasn't wearing my retainers. You'd think it would have the opposite effect, or if it was because of what they did with that tooth. But it seems like my bite is a little less crosswise than it was 2 weeks ago. So if I can have less of a cross bite, I mean, I didn't have a severe crossbite or anything, but it was noticeable to me anyway. And now it doesn't feel like it's there anymore. So I'm going to have to ask them what that was. Because if it was because I didn't wear my retainers, maybe I should stop wearing my retainers. Okay, so yeah. So I was going to talk about my TBR, which I talked about it last night, but maybe people weren't there and I kind of went over it pretty quickly because I was starting to get tired. Oh, speaking of getting tired, some of us are going to be participating in another live stream at 7 o'clock from my perspective. So in about 4.5 hours. So I might cut this short at an hour and a half, or hard and fast that we're going to stop no later than 4, because some of us are going to be doing that. And this is already my second live stream in less than 24 hours. So I don't want to do this all afternoon. I need a chance to take a nap and whatnot. But anyway, so I thought I could go into my TBR, my May TBR, a little more extensively if people are interested. I also have some things I've been getting at library sales that I just keep forgetting to show off. So I've got that, a little bit of a haul, as it were. So, and like I said, I'm trying to finish The Wall of Winnipeg and Me before the before May 1st, tomorrow, sometime in the next, 8 or 10 hours before I go to bed. So that's what I've been working on. And so, yeah. So what are people interested in? No votes for anything? Or is this one of those like, we came here so you could decide? Let's see the TBR, says Abby Jean. I need to use up Hoopla Borrows and pick my first 6 books. Okay, well, let me know if you want any of these to be buddy reads. Because yesterday I went over them kind of quickly, like I said, because I was starting to get kind of tired. So, okay, so I have several by Constance O'Day Flannery, which we talked about a little bit. I have like 4 by her, I think. Let's see. Okay, I thought I had 4, but I only see 3 here. Okay, so TBR, says Paige. Nice. Okay. Well, since I kind of branded this as an Ever Afterathon live stream, not officially. I didn't put myself on the calendar because that doesn't start until May, tomorrow, and not, but I did. Anna wants to see the TBR. We have a lot of votes for TBR. So, but I did promote it on the Ever Afterathon Discord. So if there are people here who saw it and were like, I want to know what this is about. Hi, I'm a middle-aged lady in a tiara talking about books. Okay, so I have these Constance O'Day Flannery. So if you guys want me to read some summaries or something like that, just let me know. Okay. Let me get my I know Abby Jean's gonna want to know how long they are and when they were published. This one is called Shifting Love. And it was published in 2004. And it is about 324 pages. Yeah, you're keeping me honest. Abby Jean says I know her well. So this is 324 pages. It's Shifting Love, and I'm not sure. Oh, I don't know that this is time travel. She usually writes time travel, but actually the shifting love thing, and I was saying it's not that kind of shifting. Yes, it is. He's a shapeshifter. I don't know specifically what kind of shapeshifter, but there's a secret society devoted to bringing the world back into balance, has a mysterious agenda for Julian, and doesn't care about the heart's wish of a vulnerable shapeshifter. So I don't think this might not actually be time travel. I might have just assumed because it's Constance O'Day Flannery, but might not be. So I might. However, sometimes when you have shifter romance, you get soulmates, and since that's a trope for my team, I would get 75 points there. Let's see about this one. Okay, here we go. This is also Constance O'Day Flannery. Anywhere You Are. 1999. And it's about 360 pages. And it's when a rugged, wild, but incredibly breathtaking man approaches Marie. She's got a lot of I's in her name, more than you might think. Paige points out that, yes, most shifter romances will be soulmates. So, yeah, there is that. Marie Callahan, she's unprepared for the enticing tremors of passion she feels. Ooh, that's a tremor of passion. Ooh, I was totally unprepared. I should have gotten some fresh water or something. It's like a hurricane or a tornado. That's my Marie Callahan impression. But there's something unusual about this stranger and something peculiar about what's happened to Marie. For when she crazily agreed to go skydiving with her brother, she expected to land somewhere outside of Las Vegas. But Jack Delaney, as the stranger introduces himself, tells her she has landed in a different place and time. Abby Jean says you should probably continue with Christine Feehan since you have probably 100 books to read of hers. What's your point? I've got a whole dive in drop out to do that's not Christine Fian, but it's still paranormal. Mm-hmm. I don't know that this is the start of a series or not. I'd have to look it up, and I'll do that maybe during the break. So anyway, Jack Delaney, he was adopted. He's Anglo but or white European descended, but he was adopted by the Paiute Indians, and he's hoping to regain the soul he'd lost fighting in the Civil War. Yeah, that'd do it for you. Wow. Okay, so it's time travel, and he's missing his soul. Like, I'm guessing it's like a literal thing. Like, you know. Anyway, maybe she's his soulmate. Anyway, this is has a keyhole, and this is what it's behind. There's no passionate clinch. There's just, some flowers, and I think that's the yellow brick road. Christine Fian. So that's that one. Then we have the gift. This is, let's see. Oh, wow, this is cool. This is from 1994, and it's almost 400 pages long. And apparently, it's this modern woman who she's already raised her daughter on her own. She's a successful career woman, and a sultry feminine voice is calling to her from the television. And it is a movie star who materializes from the television into her living room. Beautiful blonde bombshell Val Manchester has been dead for 30 years. Now the man-eating sex kitten and her sizzling secrets are back and wreaking havoc, I think, actually. I said wrecking, it's wreaking. Wreaking havoc with Julia's life. But what is Val's mission? To bring the modern no-nonsense Julia a complete fashion makeover straight from heaven? Or to set her on the trail of a love lost but never forgotten, a passion and ageless, timeless, and without end? Oh, so it's like the Purple Rose of Cairo, only with like a makeover montage. Awesome. I was so sure I had another Constance O'Day Flannery. Maybe I might have. Oh yeah, here it is. Time Kissed Destiny. Extract it. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Look at those colors. Oh, that's gorgeous. And it wraps around, and you have this on the back. Oh, so pretty. That sounds interesting, says Abby Jean. Mm-hmm. I assume you mean this one with the movie star? Yeah. I don't know if it's time travel. If she's coming from heaven, then it's not really time travel. Okay. This is Bermuda. And that is a great cover, says Lost Coffee Mug. It sure is. I mean, it's just pretty. It's so pretty. I have a tiara that matches it, which was a gift from the lovely Abby Jean. So Kate Walker goes from New Jersey to Bermuda with dreams of scuba diving in the relaxing warm waters. She discovers sunken treasure. She went to claim her bounty. Suddenly, all the divers around her disappeared, and she found herself staring into a pair of hypnotizing blue-gray eyes. Frightened, Kate swam off in the direction of the ship she had dove in from, realizing too late that she hadn't even offered to share her life-supporting oxygen with the stranger. Actually, it turns out the stranger is a shipping entrepreneur, and it is, for him, it is the modern age and the year 1868. And Abby Jean's pointing out that historical romances in countries other than England and Scotland get extra points. I had totally forgotten about that. We didn't discuss that at all yesterday in the when we were talking about the point system with Crystal. Good deal. Okay. Oh, and then I have this one. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. OMG. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is Enslaved by Virginia Henley. And we have this flower, not at all evocative, and this raised lettering embossed, and it's gold, metallic, foiling, embossing, etc. And this is the one that has the Victor Godino step back. Oh yeah, Victor Godino. who specifically speaks of his own work and his own artistic sensibilities as being someone who embraces the grotesque. So yeah, this is like borderline. It is kind of very exaggerated like that. And this one is about a Regency era lady, Lady Diana Davenport. Where are all the real men, she wondered. For Lady Diana Davenport, they existed only in her books and dreams. There she could lose herself, becoming the licentious Diana, goddess of the hunt. Licentious. Wasn't she famously a virgin? Imagination is a wonderful thing. Far from the rigid restraints of 18th century London, where she was courted by fops and fools. That is, until she tried on an authentic Roman helmet in an antique store and was catapulted back in time, landing in Marcus Magnus's arms. This was no dream. She was lost in Aquae Sulis, the city she knew as Bath, prisoner of a Roman general who accused the violet-eyed beauty of being a druid spy and then made her his slave. Ooh, so we've got human trafficking, but make it sexy. This might end up on a future edition of Is It Safe to Read? You know, that series, that intermittent series I do where I look at some of these older historical romances and tell you whether or not they're safe to read, or more likely, what is the content that you probably should be aware of before you try reading them. And we have a comment from Paige. I didn't realize how many time travel historical romances there were until I started looking for books for the readathon. Yeah, it's a thing that happens. Breath of Magic by Teresa Medeiros. This is, we've got a dude. No, it's a lady. Oh, this is fun. We've got a woman from, okay, oh, I forgot to tell you when this was published. I'm on the ball. I know what I'm doing. I am 1996. It's fairly long. It's 436 pages. And it's got relatively small print. So, you know. Okay, so Teresa Medeiros, Breath of Magic. This is interesting because I think in one of these discussions, or maybe it was in a DM I was having with somebody, we are talking about how the time travel, I think it might have been in one of Bee's live streams or Tara's and Bee's live streams. We were talking about how time travel, a lot of times, if you have somebody coming from the past into the present, it's the dude and he meets, you know, Leopold meets Kate, that kind of thing. Well, this one, she's coming 300 years in the future from the past. And yeah, so it's the lady is the time traveler, which gets me a lot of points. And she's coming from the past to the present. Well, the present in 1996. And this one is 370 pages. She inherits an amulet from her mother. She never expected it to whisk her more than 300 years into the future. Flying unsteadily on her broomstick, she suddenly finds herself among towers of glass and metal, then tumbling from the sky to land at the feet of a man with frost gray eyes. Didn't we just have a dude with frost gray eyes? And a seemingly flint hard heart. He is a reclusive billionaire. So I don't know. We don't have any points for billionaire romance, but yeah, he didn't believe in magic, but he has his own reasons for offering $1 million to anyone who could prove it existed. And now he finds himself besieged by fakes, frauds, and an old nemesis, ready to leap on this opportunity to destroy him. But the smoky-voiced beauty who appeared to fall from the clouds into his climate-controlled existence is something else entirely. A woman able to enchant his lonely heart with wonder, but who can't possibly be what she seems. I think this is fun because it's the lady who's coming forward and being the fish out of water in the present. And I think there is a sequel or something that I have. I'm not sure, but this is the one I grabbed for my special shelf. I'm pointing just barely off camera. Couple of oh, Aina, if Aina is still here and in a position to respond, because she's editing and eating spaghetti, which sounds like a fine old time to me. I have this book by Lynn Kurland, and I think that you have read Lynn Kurland, but I'm not sure. Oh, Abby Jean says, I'm curious about that one. I didn't like After Midnight, which is a Teresa Medeiros vampire historical romance, but so many people love her, and a book that takes place in the 90s and was written as a contemporary, also about witches. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm going to try this. And like I said, I think there's a sequel. I'll look for it during the sprints. Anyway, if Aina is here and here you go. Kurland is amazing. Thank you, Aina. I was pretty sure that you had read her and had some of her books. Well, this is a time travel by her. I don't know if you've read it. It's A Dance Through Time. Scotland, 1311. James MacLeod was the most respected and feared laird in all of Scotland. He loved his men like brothers and his land with a passion, and he allowed no women to cross the threshold of his keep. Paige says, I just picked up that Teresa Medeiros book over the weekend. Nice. Anna says, I haven't read it in a long while, but I bet I still have and love the book. I have a few of them, and no, I haven't read that one. Okay. Anyway, so we've got James MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. A little Highlander joke there. Highlander. Yeah. Adrian Paul. Connor MacLeod. He wasn't Connor MacLeod. Was he Connor? He was Duncan MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. Connor MacLeod was Christopher Lambert. Never mind. I'm going into an 80s, 90s pop culture rabbit hole here. Like purchased it or read it page is what Abby Jean wants to know. And Anna says she does own it. Well, I will be reading it sometime in May if you want to join me for that. Anyway, so New York City, 1990. So we've Scotland, 1311. New York City, 1996, with an indifferent fiancé and a stalled writing career, Elizabeth Smith found passion and adventure only in the unpublished romance novels that she wrote, until a Scottish hero began calling to her. So anyway, she's going to wake up in 1311 Scotland. Purchased it, says Paige. Found it at a used bookstore. Nice. So yeah, James MacLeod of Clan MacLeod. Jamie. Okay. Oh, and this one that I was talking about yesterday. This is the one where at one point value is to $5.99. Our price two for $5, and then it was buck a book for $1 and stuff. The time travel trip always gets me. Wait, Abby Jean says right on. I might have to try that one, but not this month. And Anna says the time travel trip always gets me. I do love time travel. This one, yeah, I do need to take those stickers off. This is Forever in a Day. Dance Through Time, 1996, 360 pages. Okay, Forever in a Day by Victoria Chancellor. Sounds like the name of an 80s soap star. This was 1995, and it's about 400 pages. Oh yeah, I've been reading for a very long time, and I still get it wrong sometimes. And English is my native language. An ageless longing, a timeless love. When Linda O'Rourke returned to her grandmother's South Carolina beach house, it was for a quiet summer of tying up loose ends. And it ended up being a quiet summer of tying up handsome dudes. We can but hope. And although the lovely dwelling charmed her, she couldn't help but remember the evil presence that had threatened her there so many years ago. Plagued by her fears and tormented by visions of a virile Englishman tempting her with his every caress, she was unprepared for reality in the form of the mysterious and handsome Gifford Knight. His kisses evoked memories of the man in her dreams, but his sensual demands were all too real. Linda longed to surrender to Giff's masterful touch, but it was a safe haven she found in his arms. But was it a safe haven she found in his arms, or the beginning of her worst nightmare? Gifford. What a dumb name. Giff. Gifford. Calling him Giff for short. Some people will get that joke, others will not. Rita Clay Estrada. Interlude in Time. This is Time Swept. We were talking about this last night, that this was like a whole line. It wasn't like a prolific line, but there was one. 1994. This one might have been If it didn't have so many stickers on it, I might be able to tell you, because this is the BMI as well. These are both BMI Publishing Wing. And this one might have also been Time Swept, or maybe they just did this as standalone. Anyway, this is the one of the lady in New Jersey. I talked about this yesterday. She wakes up in the turbulent surf. She washes up on the shore of Cape May, New Jersey, lying in the arms of the most gorgeous hunk she'd ever seen. But Thomas Elder was not only devastatingly sexy, he was also certifiably insane. And dressed in outlandish clothes straight out of a gangster movie, he insisted that the date was 1929. And she said, "What month?" And he said, "June." And she said, "Get the hell out of the stock market." Horrified to discover that Thomas was absolutely correct, Paris, that's the lady's name, set about surviving in a dangerous era filled with glamorous flappers eager to seduce her man. There's a line break there, so I thought it was glamorous flappers eager to seduce her. And vicious mobsters bent on giving them both cement overshoes, concrete galoshes. Together, she and Thomas would defy them all to create their own intimate interlude in time. My grandmother was a flapper, but in San Francisco. And One Perfect Night by Judith O'Brien. This is a step back. This is the one with just like the lady gazing off in the distance. It is a lovely step back, but it's not a clinch. That'll happen sometimes. Yeah. This is a Madison Avenue executive who ends up in Camelot. It is a silly place. Copyright 1998, and it is 370 pages. This one was, if I didn't say, it was 1994 and 400 pages. This one, for a mass market paperback, it has fairly sizable font. At least it looks bigger to me, or at least easier to read. I have a couple of anthologies, Timeless and Veils of Time. This includes Lynn Kurland, Maggie Shane, Angie Ray, and Ingrid Weaver. We have And the Groom Wore Tulle. That is the Lynn Kurland book story. Okay, this one, the dude's in that particular story, the dude is the time traveler. So, The Con and the Crusader. A con man jumps into a well and into the past. So it's the man who is the time traveler. Here we go. A Bride Most Common. A time machine hurled Lucy Taylor back in time to Regency England and into the middle of a wedding to a dashing gentleman. Could she change history to save her future without falling in love with a handsome new husband? Anna says, I own Timeless and I liked it enough to keep, but I'll probably only reread one of. Oh, yeah, continues to. I'll probably only reread one or two of them. Okay. And so let's see. Oh, and we have a museum curator who is cataloging antiquities when suddenly a Celtic warrior appears, claiming to be her long-lost betrothed. So another one where the dude is the time traveler, and you don't get points for that. Maybe I won't get into that one. Or maybe I'll just read the one story where the lady's the time traveler. Timeless. Linda Lale Miller takes a vintage dress shop owner on a breathtaking adventure in medieval England. Diana Bain unlocks the secret love behind Maggie's taunting dreams of a clan war from centuries past. Anna Jeanette takes, I know, Anna, you have some Anna Jeanette. That's also Hannah Howell. Is the same person? Takes a plunge into the sea from the cliffs of Cornwall and falls back in time into the arms of a heroic knight. Elaine Crawford finds times of the essence when an engaged workaholic inherits a California ranch, a place she's seen somewhere before. So, yeah. And then I also have the Star Trek book, which I'm probably not going to read this time around because it turns out that all of the time travelers are dudes. So, yeah. It's like Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. And then we have Lost in Time by A.J. Riddle. It's blurbed amazing, says Diana Gabaldon. Is it Diana Gabaldon or Gabaldon? I don't know how that's pronounced. Time travel is a death sentence, literally so in the near future, where exile to the deep past is the judicial penalty for capital crimes. Okay, this is about a dude who gets marooned 201 million years ago. This is fun, but it doesn't really fit the brief, so I'm going to deprioritize that. Shifting Love, and Veils of Time. Going to deprioritize those. So those are the books that I own that I was looking to read. Oh, and also we talked about yesterday, Yours Until Dawn, The Beauty and the Beast retelling. That's one of the buddy reads. So yeah, this is Teresa Medeiros. It is 2004, and it is 363 pages, and it's relatively friendly font. Okay, so those are the books that I own. I do have some out from the library, most of which are, I have a whole bunch of Eloisa James fairy tale retellings that I'll get to if I get to. I'll get some points for them, and I'm interested to read them. Lost Coffee Mug says, "Oh, the Beauty and the Beast retelling sounds interesting." Oh yeah. I'll just go ahead and read the summary. Gabriel Fairchild's valor during battle earns him the reputation of hero, but costs him both his sight and his hope for the future. Abandoned by the fiancé he adored, the man who once walked like a prince among London's elite secludes himself in his family's mansion, cursing his way through dark days and darker nights. Prim nurse Samantha Wickersham arrives at Fairchild Park to find her new charge behaving more like a beast than a man. Determined to do her duty, she engages the arrogant Earl in a battle of both wit and wills. Although he claims she doesn't possess an ounce of womanly softness, she can feel his heart racing at her slightest touch. As Samantha begins to let the light back into Gabriel's life and his heart, they both discover that some secrets and some pleasures are best explored in the dark. Mm-hmm. Abby Jean says to Lost Coffee Mug, not sure if you're doing Ever Afterathon, but there will be a buddy read of Yours Until Dawn in the Discord if you're interested. Yeah, I mean, you could be in the Discord even if you're not officially signed up, and you can decide to sign up anytime. It's starting May 1st. There's a Discord, and when I afterward, I'll put a link to Crystal's video explaining it and where to find the Discord and everything. I'll put that in the description box when this is over and it's available for playback. I will put it there. The Lost Coffee Mug says, "Oh, I should join and look into that. Thank you both." Yeah, like I said, I will put a link in the description box below this, and later today or tomorrow, I'm hoping to post a video, which is just basically going to be what I'm doing here, only, with some extra stuff. My trip to the library. Okay, well, before we get into my library books or whatever, how about another half-hour sprint going to about 25 minutes past the hour, 25 minutes past? Yeah, it's 7 minutes to the hour. So for 20 minutes, we would go to, for 30 minutes, we'd go, or do people only want 20? Abby Jean says, it's hosted by Crystal from Books Forever After. Yes. Anyway, so do people want a 20-minute sprint, a 30-minute sprint? What's the deal? See if I can find the link and just put it in the comments. Oh, for Pete's sake. What am I even doing? Why am I trying to do more than one thing at a time? I will do this during the sprints. Let's do 30 minutes, says the Lost Coffee Mug, Pages Book Shack, and Ana and Abby Jean. So pretty much everybody wants 30 minutes. Cool beans. So, okay, it just turned to 6 minutes to the hour, so we're going until 24 minutes past. And here's the river. And here is sprinting. That's not how you spell that. It really isn't. See you in a half an hour. Okay, sorry about that ad for Nissan. Lost Coffee Mug says, thanks for the link. I did join while I was eating a salad. Yay! We got a recruit, you guys. We got a recruit. Which team did you join, or have you decided yet? And you were eating a salad while you were doing it, so you can have one of those stock photos of the lady like eating a salad and just being so happy. I'm eating salad, and I joined a readathon. I'm so happy. And I meant to say this earlier. Thank you for the kind words about my channel. Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. I mean, it's not hard to say nice things about a nice channel. I'm enjoying your stuff. Mhm. I think I even at one point left a comment explaining where you can get the best leftover Kentucky Fried Chicken known to man, and that is at the Cromwell, Connecticut KFC. Their chicken's just so good. Ana says, I got through. Oh, she says, Lost Coffee Mug says, I haven't decided yet. After work, I'm going to look more into it all since I'm still working. Yes, well, you've got 4 teams to choose among, and yeah, it'll be fun. I'm on Team Time Traveler, or it's Team Traveler, but the traveling is specifically time travel. That's the one I'm on. Abby Jean's on it, and a bunch of other people. I don't know which one Paige is on, or if she's even doing the Ever Afterathon. I'm not sure. Ana, I got through 2 chapters of my book. Yay! Progress was made. I filmed a clip in case you, if any of you were watching what I was doing, you probably could have figured that out. I was kind of for my Ever Afterathon video. I just talked about the books I just talked about with you guys. Only I did it for the long form edit rather than for a live stream. Oh, Paige is also Team Traveler. So, you know, that's where all the cool kids are for certain definitions of cool. But there's also Team Cinderella, Team Pirate, and Team Governess. So, yeah. And speaking of that, whole sort of general mishmash, I thought I would talk about my library books. Abby Jane says, Team Traveler for the win. We have a lot of strong readers. Can you believe there is almost 80 people signed up now? Is that for the Ever Afterathon as a whole, though, not just for Team Traveler, right? It's not that big, or maybe it is. I don't know. Cool. And also, there are lots of opportunities for people to host live sprints on their channels. So again, if anybody wants to co-host with me on my channel or wants me to co-host with them on their channel, just let me know. You can DM me on Discord where I am Sock Marionette. Yes, as a whole. That's what I figured, but okay, so do you want to know my TBR for my library books? Again, I talked about some of these last night, but not all of them. And I can go into them in a little more detail if people want me to read some summaries or something like that. Or you want to know what year it was published and how many pages it has. That's legit information to want. Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Oh, or if you can't find me on Discord, you can always just leave a comment in this video. Let's see it, says Abby Jean. Okay, now some of these I talked about yesterday. And go for it, Sock. Go for it. Adjust that tiara, put on those reading glasses, and let's go. Okay, I have some of the Eloise James fairy tale retellings because I am going to cross the streams and read some stuff for other people's. I have the Ugly Duchess, which is presumably the ugly duckling. But look at that swan-like dress. That is pretty. I've already read a Once Upon a Tower, which I really liked, and When Beauty Tamed the Beast, which was fine. I just like Once Upon a Tower better. The Duke is mine. I don't know if you can tell, especially with all of this reflection, but she's on a stack of mattresses because this is The Princess and the Pea. These are very, very loose, and they usually just include like one or two elements from the stories, but they're not like a straight up retelling. Yeah, here's a better detail of that, where you can see all of those mattresses upon which she stacked herself. This is 2012 and 390 pages. The Ugly Duchess is probably around the same time. This was a series, I think she published these pretty close together. 2012, and it is 334 pages. And A Kiss at Midnight, which is one of the buddy reads, Cinderella retelling. And this is one of the buddy reads. It's happening. And ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. So this, the step back isn't the same as the front cover, which it was in the other one. You've got the lady. And then here you have the lady and the gentleman. I think this is probably also 2012 or thereabouts, 2010. And about 370 pages. Oh, by the way, when I went out into the Heartfelt Hallway, where I keep my romances, during the sprints, I found this other Teresa Medeiros book, which is a time travel called Touch of Enchantment. And this is a... Abby Jean says, I was intrigued by Eloisa James' retelling of The Princess and the Pea, but I read there's some problematic rep of autistic people, so I'll be avoiding that one. Ooh, well, I'll keep an eye out for that. Yeah. Love the step back, though. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll keep an eye out for that. Thanks for the warning. I'll go in and be the canary in the coal mine. So this is about a modern day heiress, modern day being around 1996, I think. 1997, and it is 330 pages. Modern day heiress, and she ends up 7 centuries in the past. So, and this is the step back. I like, he's got his chainmail. She's wearing a cocktail dress. When she tries to pull away from him when they're done hugging, I think probably a lot of those sparkly sequins or whatever on her dress are going to get pulled away by the chainmail. It's going to be, disentangling is going to be a problem potentially. Okay, so then of course I mentioned The Truth About Love and Dukes by Laura Lee Gerke, because this is not for the Ever Afterathon. This is for the Tea and Biscuits book club. So I'll be reading that at some point. An Offer from a Gentleman. We talked about this yesterday because this one is Crystal, whose brainchild the Ever Afterathon is. This is her favorite fairy tale retelling. So I want to read. She had favorites for each of the 4 categories, teams, and I'm going to try to read them. So once everybody reassured me that I don't need to read the other Bridgerton books, which I haven't done, in order to get something out of this. Hey, Erica Wallace, how's it going? Just gone over my Ever Afterathon TBR for Crystal's Ever Afterathon. Books Forever After. And then her favorite governess dark romance kind of story is, not too surprisingly, Jane Eyre. And this is what they had at the library. I checked this one out just to have something to hold up on camera, because I'm actually going to be reading, I think, a large print edition. But this is a really neat one. I like the purple. And on the back, we have a quote. And on the front, we have a word cloud. That's fun. And then we have these lovely end papers. I think this was a Barnes & Noble. Oh, it's called Word Cloud Classics, because I guess a lot of the titles have the word cloud on the front. So that's cool. And her Pirates book was Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. I had that on Kindle. And her favorite time travel, which I will be reading, I think it'll probably be the first one I will read. I will start it tomorrow morning. And that is Remembrance by Jude Devereux. And this is from 1994, and it is 410 pages. And I think this is like a reincarnation soulmates kind of deal. We have a best-selling romance writer. She's a happy young woman, or so she believes. She's kind of a recluse. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a reincarnation deal. Cool. Abby Jean says, for those who have read it, do you consider Jane Eyre a romance? I've heard both. I'd probably say no. I know the story, but I haven't read it though. I listened to, back when I listened to audiobooks, which is many, many years ago. In fact, it was literally a book on tape. That's how long ago it was. I listened to an abridged version, so it was kind of hard to tell. Um, it might be a romance in a very general sense. I don't know. But, I don't know that I would necessarily consider it historical romance because I don't know how historical it was to the time in which she was writing. Like, is this an historical? I mean, this is an historical romance because it's an historical romance. But if you're reading a book about the 60s that was written in the 1960s, is that historical romance or is it just contemporary? Like Jane Austen, she didn't write historical romances as far as she was concerned. She was writing about her own time. So it's, that's the part I wonder about. But it's not my readathon, so I don't make the rules. And okay, and then I have some other books. One of the things you get bonus points for is if you read books that either have BIPOC representation, one of the characters is Black, Indigenous, or a person of color, and or the writer is BIPOC. So you have either the representation or the authorship. And you can get it's those, each one is worth 50, and if it's a BIPOC character written by a BIPOC author, you get 100. And also the same 50 points applies to LGBTQ plus representation and or LGTP. I usually do not struggle with this acronym. LGBTQ plus. Just stumbling over that, and I don't know why. I've never had a problem with it before. LGBTQ plus author or character representation. You will get those points. So a lot of the books I had out from the library, I had it. Oh my gosh, I had it, and then I questioned myself, and I went down a very problematic tongue twister lane. Anyway, so these are books I had out from the library anyway, and I decided to hold off on reading them until May, tomorrow, because I would get med points for them. And actually, one is due on the 3rd, which is Saturday or Sunday? Saturday. That's The Love Con by Saricia Glass, which is, I got mad points when I toted them up the other day. I got yesterday, I guess. I got mad points because it's BIPOC author, BIPOC representation, this lady here, and it is a Friends to Lovers. And that's one of my team tropes for Team Traveler. So I get bonus points for that. So that one I'm going to be reading sooner rather than later because it is due on Saturday. Technically, this one is due on Saturday, but it's an old book and it'll probably be renewed. This one this one can't be renewed because I've already renewed it twice. So yes. Lost Coffee Mixes. I love the cover of the Love Con. Isn't it great? Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Abby Jean says, I'm super excited to read We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian. After loving You Should Be So Lucky. MM 1950s. Yeah, I mean, I read We Could Be So Good first and then You Should Be So Lucky. And I liked You Should Be So Lucky better, but I think really only because of the baseball content. Baseball players, I'm into it. Saving it, Abby Jean says, saving it for if I'm feeling a little burnt out of Regency. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, and then I'll have what he's having by Adib Khorram. So we have a BIPOC author. Oh yeah, he's the guy who wrote Darius the Great is Not Okay, which is a middle grade about a family that immigrates from Iran to the U.S. And it was interesting to read because I actually, as an American citizen, lived in Iran for about a year and a half, and then we had to leave kind of abruptly because of the Iranian Revolution. And suddenly, Americans were not very popular there. But anyway, so I'll have what he's having. So we've got a BIPOC author, BIPOC representation, queer author, queer representation. So that's like 200 points plus the number of pages, which is 360. This one I think this is adult. The other one that I was talking about, Darius the Great is Not Okay, is It might be YA, it might be middle grade, I'm not sure. Anyway, so this is going to be worth a lot of points, and I'm looking forward to that. I actually had a hold on this for months and months and months, and they finally got it for me. So let's see. I had This Time Travel by William Gibson, which is science fiction, not romance, and I think I don't know. I'm not sure about this one. I don't know how many points it'll get me. And I don't have to return it right away, though, because it is an older work. So they're probably not going to have any trouble renewing it for me. And also an older work, Landline by Rainbow Rowell. This is about Georgie McCool, whose marriage is in trouble. Okay, she actually is able to communicate with her husband in the past. It's not time travel, not exactly, but she feels like she's been given an opportunity to fix her marriage before it starts. So I don't know, maybe not. I don't know how. I'm not necessarily a big fan of Marriage in Trouble, although I have another Marriage in Trouble book over here. So I will hold this one in reserve. Again, I'm not going to have any trouble renewing it because it's an older work. So yeah. I have A Sure Thing by Joanna Lowell. Talked about this, I think, a little bit last night. We have takes place in Cornwall in the late 1880s. And this dude is an artist. He's a trans dude, and he was in a painting sisterhood. And when he started living his life as a dude, living his truth, I should say, as a dude, the sister had kicked him out, and now he's like looking for some family. Anyway, so it is LGBT representation. I'm not sure if the writer is LGBT. Doesn't specify, but there is LGBT representation, and it is an historical romance, so that's some points. I also talked about The Broposal, which is another one that gets me a lot of points because Sonora Reyes is a BIPOC writer and in the queer community. And the characters are queer, and one of them, at least one of them, is BIPOC. So that's another one that's going to be worth a lot of points, in addition to it being a romance and being 360 pages. Another queer romance, Pole Position by Rebecca J. Caffrey. And so, yeah, I think B read this or was talking about it and she liked it. Or maybe she was just talking about it as a book that was coming out and it sounded interesting to me. So that's another one that I've been holding on to. We have by Etta Easton, The Love Simulation. And that is, I think they're astronauts. Yeah, they're astronauts, or he's an astronaut. Anyway, there's like space travel involved, but like not futuristic, like the way we travel in space now. And it is about BIPOC characters by a BIPOC author. Playing Flirty by Shamiz Patel. Also a BIPOC representation by an Own Voices BIPOC author. And then 2 LGBT romances by Timothy Janofsky. You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince, and The Merriest Misters. This one is Marriage in Trouble, but the project that they undertake that might save their marriage is that they're forced to become Santa Claus. Team up is to become Santa Claus. So it's magical realism and holiday spirit. So I'm going to do like a little Christmas in May, and You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince is a similar kind of deal. So yeah. So those are the library books. I mean, I have other library books out, but they don't necessarily get me all the points. I do have some romances, but so they get me the 50 points for being romances, but they don't have the additional points for LGBTQ plus representation or authorship, or LGBTQ plus, or BIPOC representation or authorship. That sounds cute, says Abby Jean, and then she laughs at Christmas in May. I think traditionally it's Christmas in July, but you know, this is May. So anyway, so those are my potentials. Yeah. So do we want to do another sprint? I don't want to go too much past 4 because of the other live stream some of us will be doing later. But I can we can do another 30 minutes if people want to. Megan, 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 Megan. It is so good to see you. It was good to see you last night. It's good to see you today. It's like I feel like Megan Drought and now Megan Joy. Cool beans. What? Okay. Megan, so Abby Jean says, "Hey, Megan," and Megan says, "I got here a few minutes ago, but then had to hang laundry." Well, I hope we were able to keep you company while you did that. Hey, Megan, says Paige. Yes, Megan, Megan, Megan. Um, I was just talking about doing another sprint, actually. The gang is all here, says Abby G. I was talking about doing another sprint. I don't want to go too late, though, because some of us will be going to Bee's members live stream at 7, at 7 from my perspective. So that's in about 3 hours and 20 minutes. And um, so I was thinking of doing another sprint. I've already discussed my TBR. You can always watch that back, or yeah. The Abby Jean said the gang's all here. Megan says, "LOL, I'm glad you guys are still here." And Abby Jean says, "Shoot, except for Nicole." Never mind, LOL. I think she's still doing like school wrap up for the kids or something like that. I don't know. For students. Let's sprint, says Abby Jean. Okay, do we want 20 minutes to 4 o'clock or do we want to go the full 30 minutes to 4:10? I'm okay with that if you guys are. I got another clip to record, so. And if Megan wants to, she can catch up on the TBR stuff that she missed. So 30 minutes or 20? Megan says, "I'm slowly able to start joining some live shows and I'll be there tonight." Yes, with B, but I have students at 5. Yeah, well, like I said, I'm not going to go too long today because I want to go to the sprints with B, and that'll be like my third live stream in 24 hours or something, 25 hours. So, but if so do people, like I said, do people want to go to 4 o'clock or 4:10? 4:20, dude. Okay, I have a migraine saying, "Oh, that sucks." Okay, well, call it. Yeah, go take care of yourself, and I hope you can find some nice dark place to try to get comfortable and get rid of that pesky potential migraine. Paige says either works for me. Abby Jean suggests Anna get some rest. Yes, please do. Abby Jean says 4:10. Okay, we'll go to 4:10 because somebody expressed a preference. Megan says, "Oh, feel better, Anna. I've had a little one all day too." Well, that blows. That really blows. Migraines are just the pits. I hate them so much. I went into surgery with a migraine and they gave me all of this anesthesia and everything. And when I came out of the surgery, I was in pain from the incision and I still had a migraine. That was awful. And I was like in so much, I was in pain and I didn't have any of my pain management techniques to draw on because I was woozy from the anesthesia. It was not a good experience. Let's do 4:10, says the Lost Coffee Mug. Awesome. And Paige says, "Bye, Ana. Hope the migraine goes away soon." And Lost Coffee Mug has been getting migraines the past few days as well. Get some rest. Yes, please do. And we'll see you when we see you. And yeah, we're going to go to 4:10 because that seems to be what people want. So let me get the radio station link. I can't just paste it in from before because I pasted a bunch of other stuff in from before. Copy. Okay, so if anybody wants to listen to the River 105.9, there you go. And we are going until 4:10 or 10 past the hour. Okay, and now we're back. It has been, was that really a half an hour? Sure didn't feel like it. I see we still have a couple people here. I have some things that I get at library sales that I keep forgetting to share if people want to see them, or I can save them for next week. These are non-book items. Paige says, those 30 minutes always go so quickly. They don't necessarily for me, but they sure did this time. I think it was actually more like 28 minutes, but close enough. Megan says, hello, I'm trying to get my Ever After TBR done to get the weekly challenge points. Oh, is there a weekly challenge for getting your TBR done? I don't know how to do that. I have to look into that. Okay, well, actually, the other thing I've been getting at library book sales are puzzles. So I have some puzzles if people like to see that sort of thing. And I have this one that even has a wee post-it that says all pieces present. And this is 300 pieces, and it is a long and narrow one, which is, I don't know if this is actually Charles Wasaki, but it sure looks like Charles Wasaki. Wait, let me find a side that doesn't have a sticker on it. There we go. Nope, it's a guy called Eric Dowdle, but it's definitely Wasaki inspired, sort of a, I'm guessing New England church. Sure, you bet, why not? Lighthouse and stuff in the background. Says, ooh, I love puzzles, says Megan. Paige is saying, if you post your TBR on the Discord by May 3rd, you get your team 50 points, I think. Nice. Abby Jean says, help me decide. Should I take out the whole Surviving Time trilogy by Callie Reed or just the first book? I plan to read them all if I like the first one. Well, I mean, I don't know. Depends on how seamless you want that reading experience of going from one to the next to be. If you don't want to have to think about it, then go ahead and get all of them. If it's going to eat into your allotment of Kindle titles that you can have at once, or you don't find it to be that difficult to get them, let me see. Megan says, oh, I have time. Then I thought I had to get it in before it started. Does it have to be in any particular format, or anyway? Abby Jean says, yes, and you have to turn in a Google form stating that you did it. How does that even work? And Paige says, you still have some time, Megan. Is there like a separate Google Doc for everyone, or is there just one you sign off on? I'll have to look into this. At least I have until May 3rd to figure that out, because I get very confused about like Google Docs and putting together a pretty little graphic of TBR. What a pain in the neck that is. Anyway, so that's one of the puzzles. And then I have this one. I actually got this one a few weeks ago. Well, a couple of months ago, I guess. And that is, it's a little suitcase because it's a travel puzzle. I mean, it's travel themed. I don't know that it's very handy to take it with you. And Megan says, everything is in the Discord under the challenges tab and forms. Okay, I know where to look for it then. Paige says, I'm going to get them all at once, Abby Jean. I have a feeling if it ends on a cliffhanger, I will want to read them back to back. Yeah, if you want a nice seamless reading experiences, because those are short. Aren't those like novellas? And, oh, okay. It looks like this is the actual picture for that one. So it's like, see the USA in your Chevrolet, like license plate nostalgia kind of thing. I mostly got it for the case in which it came, which is this lovely little cardboard presentation suitcase box thing, which I can use for Instagram pictures. And also, I think my my stuffed animals are always complaining that my suitcases are too big for them to take with them on their travels. So, my stuffed animals are very cranky that way. Oh my gosh, that is oh, wait a second. Oh, okay. Going back. Megan says, oh, that travel puzzle case is so cute, isn't it though? Abby Jean says, it is until the 3rd, no particular format. You can do a list or a graphic. Suck, I would assume yours would be an exception because you did a video. The point is that you share it on socials. Okay, I mean, I'll see if the video is sufficient, because I mean I did this video, I this live stream, I did it yesterday, and I actually just filmed the second clip for the video that I'm going to post. Probably not going to post it until tomorrow because I need to edit it. Okay, this one is another kind of what do you call them? Americana kind of style, and that is the Four Seasons. You have Quilt Valley Farm, Mariah by the Sea, maybe that's the name of the ship, Noah's Pumpkin Farm, and the Tenenbaum Carolers. Okay. I like them when the puzzles are smaller, because we don't have a really big table that we could just turn over to puzzles. So we like to have them a little bit smaller so we have enough space for them. And then this one is this is a big box. However, it is 12 puzzles. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Abby Jean was saying they're full length. I'm going to go for it. Worst case scenario, I catch up on Hoopla Burrows and I'm not taking 6 out on the last day of the month. There you go. Go for it, Abby Jean. It says Paige. This is okay. Is this the one that's a buddy read? Because I can't. Can I scroll back? Sometimes I have trouble scrolling back. There we go. Okay, The Surviving Time. For some reason, I was under the impression that they were novellas. Those are on Kindle Unlimited, though, aren't they? Anyway, so this one is 4 150-piece puzzles, 4 300-piece, and 4 500-piece. So that's nice. I like that. Yes, it is a buddy read. Okay, like I think I looked those up and they're on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm not too worried about it. And oh yeah, and then one more puzzle. And that's this tiny little thing that looks like it would hold tea or something. It says Orange Blossom Honey. It is, in fact, a tiny little puzzle. And it looks like that is the picture. Yes, I'm KU, says Abby Jean. Cool. Yeah, for some reason I was thinking they were novellas. Okay. So that's some other stuff I get, and I actually do have a Raggedy Ann and Andy pair that I got at a library sale, and we got a couple of stuffed dogs. My mom picked those up at a library sale, which is good because Raggedy Ann and Andy wanted pet dogs, and now they have them. They can they could probably fit them into this suitcase. Abby Jean says, "Man, I haven't done a puzzle in a while. I've been diamond painting instead." Well, that's puzzle adjacent, and I know you like that. So with the, I guess there's like a satisfying little click when you put those in place. I haven't done any of those yet, but so anyway, yeah. So that's something else I sometimes find at library sales: puzzles and stuffies, stuffies and puzzles. So anyway, I think it's probably time to call it an afternoon, because those of us who are participating in Bee's live stream, that's only about a little more than 2.5 hours away, and I need to rest my scalp, my skull, before I put on the tiara again. Megan says, yes, I need to get back into puzzles. The smaller ones are great for a weekend afternoon. Abby Jean says, it's just something simple to keep my hands busy while I listen to audiobooks. Yeah, it's kind of nice to have that. And those kinds of repetitive motions, I think, are believed to release serotonin, or to make more serotonin available in the brain. So it's good for your brain. That's, I think, one of the reasons why they think people with obsessive compulsive disorders and obsessive compulsive personality disorders sometimes will wash their hands a lot, and a lot of that, it is assumed that they have a fear of germs, but a lot of it is that kind of repetitive motion making more serotonin available in the brain, which has a soothing effect. Of course, the more you do it, the more you need to do it, so you get on that hedonic treadmill and stuff. Let's see. Now I want to start a puzzle, says Paige. Diamond painting sounds fun. It's on my list to try. Lost Coffee Mug says, I hope everyone has a good night and thanks for doing this today. Well, thank you for showing up. This is every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. Eastern. So I hope to see you again when you get a chance. So yeah, it was nice to have you here. Appreciate it. Abby Jean says, thanks for doing this, Sock. See you later, everyone. Megan says, so glad I got to be here for a little while. Paige says, thanks for the motivation, Sock. See you all later this evening. And Abby Jean says, that makes sense, Sock. I know impatient, they'll give you needlework. Yeah, yeah. There's just something, and I think for people who have an unquiet mind, like that kind of thing to focus on, and as you're listening to an audiobook too, helps kind of give your brain a chance to do something different for a little while. I know when I'm like get a repetitive thought in my head that it can be hard to break out of that unless I actually do something physical. So, uh, and Lost Coffee Mix says, I'll plan to be here next week with you. I would love to see you here next week. I'd love to see all of you next week. And thank you so much for showing up. Have a good time. And I will see some of you later on today, or some of you next week, or whenever. So yeah, and like I said, I'll be posting my video about the Ever Afterathon on my TBR. It's not going to be anything you haven't already seen this afternoon, unless you want to watch it back or whatever. You can always, of course, watch this, but also I will be posting that tomorrow. So bye, everybody.